Okay, I used the Sony A7CR with all of my lenses. They're small, compact, basically for landscaping and street photography, sometimes for modeling. They're not the expensive lenses, but they're pretty good. I have fantastic primes. They're small, compact, and then I also have some pretty good zooms, which are like 2.8, and then a super telephoto zoom lens, which I did not use with any photographs on this video, which is the Sigma 60 to 600 millimeter. But we're going to start off with the 35 millimeter f2.8, okay? And this is a Zeiss lens. And I'm going to just scroll down just to show you why I love this lens. Now, I could get closer and stuff, but I wanted to make a point because I'm also testing the Sony 40 millimeter f2.5, but this is a Zeiss. Great pictures. And I'm sorry about that. That's the last of the 35. Then I went to the 40 millimeter. So it's a little bit closer. Images are sharp. They're at f2.5. Look at that. Just gorgeous. So 40 millimeter might be the one that I like. But then I decided to use other lenses too. Like back at the Zeiss 35 millimeter f2.8. And I'm going to zoom in here. So it's not completely sharp. And I hate Nikon giving me updates when I'm supposed to be doing this. But you see, this is the Zeiss again. And that's at 35 millimeters. Not bad. But then decided to go with the 28 millimeters, which is even wider than both of those. And these pictures at f2 are excellent. Small compact lens. As well, let me go a little bit lower. The Sony G24 millimeter f2.8, just like the 40 millimeter f2.5, but this is 24 millimeter. Then I went to the 50 millimeter compact G 2.5. A little bit closer. Then I went to the Sony 50 millimeter Nifty 50 1.8. All right. And then last picture. This is the size 55 millimeter f1.8. And I don't know why preview does that. There we go. Finally got it. And went to the Sony 85 millimeter f1.8 and look at the bokeh. Sharp at the farthest distance and then blurry right here. And I use the 20 millimeter Sony. Look how sharp everything is. This is a 1.8. Then I used the size 18 millimeter f2.8. And really, you can't tell the difference. And that's the widest field of view, 18 millimeters out of all my primes. Then I went to the Zeiss 25 millimeter f2, compete against the 24. The 24G is smaller though, but the 25 is not heavy. Now, this is the Zeiss Batis 85 millimeter f1.8. So I was focusing on here instead of over here. But you can see how blurry that is too. Great in the shadows. And notice it's not as bright because the closer the subject is, the better brightness compensation, less contrasty. When you get the wider field, you get more contrast in the background. So this is the Viltrox 20 millimeter f2.8. And this is sharp, and this is probably the smallest lens I have. Viltrox and I think the 24 millimeter might be the smallest, but for carrying the lens. But look at all these pictures, folks. These are small, compact lenses. 85 are kind of huge, but they're not that big as compared to a 1.2. And they give great images. Now, this is why I was taking photograph. Airplane with a 20 millimeter. Look at that. And this, folks, is with the Viltrox. Look at that. And then I decided to put on a zoom, 24 to 240. So this is 24, 35, 45, 65 or 70, 100, 150, 240. Look how sharp that is. And then I did the 24 and then the 240. 24, 240. 24, 35, 40 or 50, 70, 100, 150, 240. And if you get a little bit closer. So this was at, what was it? 6.3. And this isn't the best zoom lens, but it's good enough. And no one is really going to pixel peep. And I started with the Sigma 16 to 28 millimeter f2.8, 16, 20, or that's 18. That's 18. This is 20, 22, 24, and 28. Then I used the Sigma 28 to 70, 2.8, 28, 35, 50, 70. And then I went to the Tamron 70 to 180 f2.8. So this is 70, 100, 135, 180. Let's look how sharp this is. See, zooms aren't as sharp as some primes, but you get the right focal length. And I'm trying to find my mouse real quick. Okay, so I showed you most of my lenses that I carry with the Sony on the full frame cameras. I didn't use any crop lenses, just the full frame lenses for the Sony A7CR. And I also have it for the A9. I just wanted to show you the difference between shooting with prime and zoom. So with the zoom lenses, if you're not going to focus real close, but you want the zoom or capture the shot, it's not as sharp as a prime, okay? But then you don't have to move closer or farther away depending on what prime you use. The 85 Sony and the Zeiss, they're both 1.8. They're both excellent lenses. Even the compact G lenses, the 24, the 40, the 50 G lenses, they're excellent. But then I also showed with the Zeiss, the 18 millimeter, the 25, and then of course the 85, and the 35 and 55 millimeter. And I think I love the 55 millimeter f1.8 the best out of the Zeiss. 85 is not bad. The 18 millimeter is not bad. I even like the 25 millimeter. Okay. So the 35 millimeter little Zeiss, kind of like compact lens, is excellent also. So I have Sigma, I have Tamron, I have Sony, I have a Viltrox 20 millimeter, and even on the Sony 20 millimeter, that and the Viltrox, I probably, with the Sony A7CR, I'll take the Sony one, 20 millimeter. I would take the 55 millimeter. And I don't know if I would take an extra lens. Usually I would say a zoom lens. It might be the 28-70, with the Sony A7CR. So that way I got the 20 millimeter, I got the 55 millimeter prime, and then I just used the 28-70 f2.8. That's excellent. And 28-70 is a Sigma lens. So on my A9, I usually had the 24-240, but then I have the Viltrox 20 millimeter. And if I had to take a third lens, I think it would be it might be just the 85 millimeter because I got the 20 millimeter f2.8, but for a 1.8, I can either take the Zeiss or I can take the Sony 85 millimeter. If you have to do a portrait, get it with one of the better ones. That would be in my kit for the A9. And then on the Sony, on the A7CR, I would have the other three lenses. Those are my go-to lenses. So 5 or 6 lenses at the most. The rest are just about nice. I love the 35 millimeter. I also like the 40 millimeter because it gets that closer. I think the 24 and the 25 and the 50, because I had the 55. You really don't need those. So if you have a good zoom lens and then 2 good primes, that's all you need to carry with any camera system that you're going to use. And hope this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed this picture show. It's kind of long, but I want to give my thoughts that, I use different camera systems for different things. Basically, I've been using the Sony for their, street photography. I've been using the, well, we'll just keep it on the Sony for today. I could just rant on and on about the different camera systems I own and why I use them and for what purpose. But for this purpose, if you're going downtown or even on a trip, I just want to show you that even looking at this screen right here to the right, and what I'm going to do is turn off the thumbnails. There we go, full screen. And this is where I'm going to end it. 20 millimeter f1.8. No, it's the Viltrox 2.8. Look how sharp that is. And it's one of the smaller lenses I own. So anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.